Happy day 57, moderation with Mayor. It is Sunday, and I actually had a day of rest. Sunday day of rest was, looked like sleeping in a little bit, looked like making a nice breakfast, letting myself read a book, cooking some food to prep for the week. Not as much as last week, because turns out too much. And I didn't just maybe a little bit less, and noticing like this, a little bit of like a scarcity belief around that, feeling like I need to do the most all the time rather than like trusting myself to meet the moment. And so where does like planning and setting yourself up for success, also that balance with being like, trust that there'll be enough energy for you to like want to make fresh food in 2 or 3 days, or trust that you can be provided for in that time, and noticing some like old beliefs around scarcity, right? And especially when it comes to feeling like I have to super plan for that moment, food, or this idea that I have to like have certain things lined up so that I can regulate my nervous system all the time. And by regulate, I really mean just like soothe it or distract it. And there's this inherent lack of trust with what I'm trying to grip when I'm doing that. And it's subtle, but it's there. And inviting my body instead to like soften into, can I meet that in the moment? There will be enough. I don't need to buy 12. I don't need to think ahead that hard. I've always been provided for. I will continue to be provided for, and really just trying to allow that to kind of go through my system. I've been working with shame for a little while now, as well as shame and the not enoughness, as you know, if you've been following along. And I can feel it kind of like stuck in my body a bit, and I've done a lot of work around shame. And so part of me, my ego part, is like, aren't we done with shame? Like, aren't we? Like, why is your body still like that? And, I very clearly hear there's more for you to learn. And part of maybe like dating a little bit or talking to some gentlemen and noticing how I'm showing up in that. And an interesting thing that I'm starting to explore now is my relationship with men, or masculine, and how little I've historically expected from that. Like, it's just been like grateful for the attention, and tracing back into some uncomfortable parts of myself. I lost my father to cancer about 6.5 years ago now, and he battled cancer for 27 years, from the time I turned 13 until his passing. He had it 7 times. It would come and go, and I was very close to him. In many ways, he was like one of my best friends. He was like my person. It was just his birthday maybe a week ago. And after his passing, and even while he was alive, there was this certain like, because he's sick, we won't talk about certain things, or because he's gone now and I miss him and grief is all encompassing, I didn't feel like I wanted to go into some of the spaces that maybe didn't feel that great. And one of them was that he was always really hard on me about my body. From a very young age, I can remember him making comments about it, me being heavy, about offering, and my mom was complicit as well, but it hurt more from dad, like paying me to try to lose weight, like $1 a pound, $2 a pound, and it was in this guise of like love and care, and didn't want me to like have the problems when I was older of someone who maybe struggles with obesity or who has a heavier body. And it was really the wrong way to go about it. And before his passing, I remember I finally asked him to stop, and I just said, has it, in all the years you've been offering or trying to get me to like hardline it or like Meredith May, has it ever once resulted in me losing weight? And the answer was no. And so he finally kind of just like stopped. But I've never really gone back around and processed a lot of what that meant, and especially how it's showing up in relationship with men. There's like this inherent, and it's not just from him. It's a theme of my life, supported by astrology as well in my chart, of the not enoughness. You know, Chiron in the ninth, in Taurus. I'm not enough, right? So if I'm not enough, then how can I allow someone to treat me like I am, romantically or otherwise? And so really working with that. And the answer, of course, is that nobody can tell me that I'm enough, right? That has to come from within. And so starting to unpack these parts of myself that was like this investigator, which is also in part of my profile, like investigating these parts of myself. And it doesn't feel quite as painful anymore. And I feel a lot more okay calling in those experiences as harmful or as like less than ideal without placing blame upon him or anything, but also acknowledging the impact that it did have. And in the awareness, I can shift it, right? I can allow it to resolve. So yeah, it feels a little uncomfortable to go into that. There's a certain defensiveness around like, oh, he's my dad and he did the best he could and but that's actually not helpful to gaslight myself, which is one of my favorite pastimes. So yeah, a little bit of a longer check-in today, but I'm just sitting with that and curious how that starts to move in my body. Any mountains high enough? And this has just been one slow step after the other. I don't even know where we're going. I don't know what mountain I'm climbing, but we're walking. Thanks for following along.